Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And to start off this week, I wanted to talk about or take this video in the direction of what's next for T-Mobile. And the reason I wanted to do that is because it seems like every month we now get another announcement or a move. We recently had the coverage and beyond where you now get the in-flight Wi-Fi unlimitedly on certain airlines, right? It's no longer capped at 1 hour. You can now use it the entire flight. And then we got the roaming in 210 plus countries that was added on to the Magenta Max package. Then we recently got the announcement that T-Mobile is buying up more 600 megahertz licenses. Now, I know they were using the license, but they never owned it. They did not own that additional spectrum they were using. They could have lost that spectrum, but now they own it and it's theirs. They completely now own that additional license that they bought for $3.5 billion. So that was another move, right? That came out of nowhere. I knew about the licensing. I knew that it was being used by T-Mobile, but I could have never anticipated that they would actually purchase the spectrum. And then, not too long after that, we got the Starlink announcement. Excuse me. Now, I've seen all the comments. I've seen people talk about the Space Mobile. Again, read the articles. That is not a definitive agreement between the two. It is Space Mobile in agreement with AT&T testing that spectrum. That's what they're doing. And if that does turn into a definitive agreement, I still have to like the Starlink and T-Mobile agreement because Elon has deeper pockets between the two companies. Just far more deeper pockets to spend on this. Again, T-Mobile is not, other than the spectrum and giving them a dedicated G block of PCS, everything else is on Elon at this point. T-Mobile is just, here's the spectrum. Everything else, the engineering part, you got to take care of it. And that's how that's going to work. And Elon said at the announcement that this is going to take some serious engineering, and I expect it would. They have close to 3,000 satellites up in space. He has to replace those satellites with newer Gen 2 technology and get that going. So I think eventually, I think it's going to be a good thing, and it's eventually going to work, right? That's a definitive agreement between the two. It's going into beta next year. This is a dedicated G block for you to use. T-Mobile can't use that block. That's a dedicated spectrum piece that they're going to be able to use for this coverage in areas that never had coverage before. So that was another announcement, right? And now, like I said, AT&T, they could respond. Possibly, I could see something with Amazon and Verizon. I think that would be a much closer contender to the SpaceX. Right now, that LEO and Verizon agreement was just for backhaul, for 4G LTE and 5G. There's no definitive agreement between the two that they're going to space and they're going to start this same type of coverage connection straight from the phone to the satellite. The backhaul situation, that was an agreement set last year, and that's going to cell sites, backhaul. There is nothing in place yet that Verizon has agreed with Amazon that they would start that same type of connection from phone to satellite. T-Mobile is the first that's acknowledging a definitive agreement using up a dedicated spectrum block for this to go into beta next year. And like I said, if the Space Mobile and AT&T agreement does work out and they go further into it, I still like the Starlink agreement better. Got more money. They're almost $1 trillion company, and this company, the ATS company, is like $2 billion. So a big difference in pockets, right? Deeper pockets at SpaceX. So I like that agreement better. So that was another announcement, right? So we're just getting announcement after announcement, and who knows, the biggest one is the one we don't know about. What's next? We really don't know what's next from T-Mobile. That's the thing. The unknown is what should keep AT&T and Verizon on their toes. It really should. So I suspect on my end, the next biggest announcement we will get from T-Mobile is going to be the results of Auction 108, the 2.5, which, again, is going to favor them, right? It's all plays into the whole entire portfolio, right? The investors are going to be happy. More people are going to feed into the stock. And that price target is just going to go higher and higher. The latest price target that I've seen, and most third parties have increased their price target, it's at 175. I could see that going way above 200 in the near term, right? Once we get these results and we see what T-Mobile actually spent and what they got, the market is going to say, well, wait a minute, they got this amount of spectrum for that cheap. They're going to claim more dominance, right? 5G leadership. And you can see the market is going to get right on board with that. 100%. The market is going to follow T-Mobile and they're going to get right on board. So this is going to be a tough environment for AT&T and Verizon to thrive in moving forward, right? AT&T is still growing on a quarterly basis, but they're doing so by spending a ton of money. They're spending a ton of money. And Verizon on the consumer side, they've been losing, or they had very slow growth. So it's going to be a very tough environment for them to thrive in, right? Unless they make changes and corrections. That could happen too. I could see that coming. But for now, like I said, seems like every month we get an announcement from T-Mobile, spectrum purchases, Starlink expanding coverage. And, like I said, the next one I think is going to be the Auction 108 results, which are going to favor T-Mobile in a big way, because I think they're getting that spectrum for dirt cheap, as many have said. They're getting that spectrum very, very cheap. And then after that, I guess we could tie in the iPhone promo. Maybe they launch something there that's new and innovative. Who knows? We'll see. We'll definitely be tuned in. But for now, like I said, it seems like every month T-Mobile is dropping something that's, that people are like, wow, did this just happen? And like I said, T-Mobile can take this plenty of ways, right? They could announce a big partnership on business. That could still come. Maybe some of these government contracts that they're working on. And I've heard some of them in like I said, behind the scenes. The Circle K one, I was made aware of that. They didn't announce that one publicly. They got the Circle K account. There's a new benefit now that Circle K employees get cell phones. T-Mobile locked that in. The AutoZone, T-Mobile locked that one in too. So there's more of those coming. And then, of course, they're attacking the SMB section too. And they're winning there. So, and also just to close out this video, don't get it misunderstood. This Starlink announcement is for areas 20% of the United States that have no wireless service at all. Nobody's there. No, not AT&T, not Verizon. That does not mean that T-Mobile is going to all of a sudden stop building out their native network. They still have to close a certain footprint where Verizon and AT&T do operate natively. T-Mobile is trying to cover outside of that footprint. They're trying to go bigger. And that's why the agreement between Starlink and T-Mobile was big. It was the first company that said, okay, we're really doing this. Here is a dedicated block of spectrum. We're really going to go forward with this. And Elon said, that's fine. I got the cells. I got the Gen 2. I'm going to have to engineer this. It's going to cost me money, but that's fine. We'll see what happens, right? Like they said, reciprocal roaming partners nationwide. Worldwide. Endless possibilities here. So let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe to the channel. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.